letting it because of tribal and religious sentiments.
So when you say this guy,
and I was in the military intelligence that time, we arrested those people. It is my organization that actually conducts interrogation and interview, and they mention names. I mean, I can't come on the air and start mentioning names of people that are presently in government now that I know. Presently in government. That the boys that we arrested mentioned. Some of them are governors now. Some of them are in the Senate. Some of them are in Aso Rock. The intention is to Islamize Nigeria and practice Sharia. And it doesn't matter if some people die. It doesn't matter if you're embarrassed. It doesn't matter if our economy has degenerated. Look at the interest rate. Look at the inflation rate. Look at the debt profile of Nigeria. They don't care. As long as at the end, the Quran is at the sea. So some people in this country have this mindset. And we must tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you die. If you don't tell it, you die. Some people have this mindset to Islamize the nation. And they are in the government. And people know them. The DSS know them. The NIA know them. The DIA knows them.
When you say the DSS, and yeah, they could be listening to you, but so they profile, part of their responsibility is to profile all of these persons before they either vie for elections or before, they are nominated for any of these positions. Doesn't that happen? Don't they get intel and say, look, this and this is what we found, and then we don't think that this should proceed further? Doesn't that happen?
It does. You know, when I worked with the DSS in 2007, because when Yar'Adua approved the operational order that we did, we now have to work together as a team. He actually forced all of us to sit down together and work together. I was surprised at the tremendous amount of information had by DSS. I was shocked. We in DI, I was in Defense Intelligence Agency, and when they were forced to bring out the files, I was shocked. They have so much information at DSS presently as I'm talking about what I'm talking about. They have. But you see, if a fish is going to get spoiled, it's going to start getting spoiled from the head. The DSS will not do anything except the commander-in-chief's body language shows that this is the direction I want to go. That is where the problem is. The DSS has tremendous information. By the time 2023 is here and somebody take over and wants to undo some of this evil that I've seen in this country, you'll be surprised names that the DSS will bring out. They have the information. There's nothing I'm going to say here that they don't have. The defense secretaries have the solution for the kinetic aspect. They do. I'm not going to come here to advise them. I work with them and they're still there. The chief of naval staff was in the intelligence with me. We were together in the Defense Intelligence Agency. That's Vice Admiral Gambo. I know these people are good. They know what to do. It's not that they have problems. It has to do with politics. The sponsors, people that feel that this country should be Islamized.
Assuming but not conceding that, that all of this is the case. So what is the end game? Because I imagine as a strategist, that's what you think about. So these things are happening. What is the end game? So why will this be allowed to fester? For what purpose?
The end game for them, because normally when you want to look at this type of challenges, what you do is that you go through what we call the intelligence circle. Okay? When you do the processing and you do the analysis before dissemination point, you discover that the end game for them is to just turn this country into like a Taliban type of country. And it's a mindset. And anything goes. In other words, 10% casualties, 20% casualties allowed in trying to achieve the end game of Islamizing this country.
That's for the terrorists, the bandits.
It's not for the terrorists and the bandits, for the sponsors. Because I told you, and I will repeat on this channel, the sponsors of Boko Haram and the bandits are the problems. And defense headquarters, the army headquarters, the naval headquarters, the air force cannot do anything about that. Buhari has to do something about that. The Interpol has the list of those people that are sponsoring Boko Haram. I work with Interpol. They should ask. If they don't know, they should ask. Hardliners in this government that are sponsoring this kind of narratives, they just want to show that they can Islamize this country. They think about Taliban, they think about the Mujahideens, and they want to replicate it in this country. And they don't care what happened. They simply don't care. As long as at the end of the day, there's Sharia, and there is whatever thing they have in their head, and they want to achieve. So these people that are sending messages are sponsored by Nigerians.
So if I could follow up on that quickly.
Please go ahead.
This part of what you just spoke about now, the security agencies gleaned this from those who they arrested over time, saying this is the intention.
Absolutely. The intention of it's on the internet. So it's not even about the people we interrogated. The intention is to Islamize Nigeria and practice Sharia. And it doesn't matter if some people die. It doesn't matter if you're embarrassed. It doesn't matter if our economy has degenerated. Look at the interest rate. Look at the inflation rate. Look at the debt profile of Nigeria. They don't care. As long as at the end, the Quran is at the sea. So some people in this country have this mindset. And we must tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you die. If you don't tell it, you die. Some people have this mindset to Islamize the nation. And they are in the government. And people know them. The DSS know them. The NIA know them. The DIA knows them. Because it is the DIA that conducted the operations that arrested these sponsors. So they know them. Why is the government, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces?
The general area of...
Conversation is usually quite tricky. I mean, people listening, some might take different perspectives to it, thinking, oh, is this a religious thing? Is this an ethnic thing? They ask, is it only Muslims you have in the military? Is it only people from this certain cultural, heritage that you have in the military? And I'd like us to tackle the issues. You have mentioned what you have called the core, as it were, of the problem. How do we tackle this without viewing it from a religious spectrum, an ethnic spectrum? Because you know well, Nigeria is quite, polarized across, these groups, ethnicity and religious. How do we tackle it without coming off as though you're inciting people, on those lines?
You see, one thing I discovered in this country is that when it comes to religion, everybody is very sensitive. But the fact I have laid bare is from the experience of 35 years of military intelligence. So I'm not coming to the air to whip up sentiments, no. I have been in the system. I work with Abacha government. I work with Babangida government. I work with Abdul Salam. I work with Yaradua Obasanjo. As a core insider of operations, I belong to a group of people that you are not supposed to see. People that you are not supposed to hear. Because we have 3 classes of military officers. I belong to the worst group. I lost my family because my family does not have to know where I have been, where I have gone, and I cannot talk. I've seen Colonel Olu here, I've seen Stan Lambo. Some of us belong to that group that we are not supposed to be seen, and we are not supposed to be heard. The truth I'm telling you now is not about sentiments. Is that there are a group of people in this country that feels that this country should be Islamized. This is a fact. Except you want me to start mentioning names of people in this government that we have interrogated. I was a member of an interrogation team, and I've interrogated a very high-ranking member of this government in 2007, 2008 on the issue of Boko Haram. I interrogated him. He's in this government right now. And what was the issue? Boko Haram. And this senior officer was actually let go because he was found culpable. But right now he's in the government. You see, we must say the truth, because if you don't, this country is going down the precipice. We have been set back more than 60 years right now. We've gone back to the time before 1966 now. And whoever is coming back to repair this country has a lot of work to do. This country has never been polarized, so we cannot run away from it. We have never been this much polarized. I'm a federal person. My mind is federal. My brain is federal. My loyalty is federal. I do things for the federal government. So I cannot come here and try to be sentimental. No, I'm a federal person.
So will your life be at risk now that they're hearing you?
I don't care. I don't care. And my colleagues, they know me. Those people that are listening to me, they know me. I don't care. The issue is that this country is bigger than an individual. That is the issue. This country is bigger than individuals. Buhari will come and go. Eliminating me or killing me will not solve the problem. And will not add value. But he will come and go. And somebody must come and repair the damage to the psyche of this society. The damage to the polarization, to the nepotism that I've never seen in my life. I work with all these presidents. This is the worst situation I've found myself. And believe me, internet does not forget. I was part of the people that helped to bring Buhari to government because I believe in him.
Have you worked with the government after that?
After
you helped bring the government?
Oh, of course, I worked with him. We brought him in 2015, and I work as the Deputy Director of Defense Administration. And we have a lot of hope in him. And we actually are ready to do anything for him. What he has turned out over the years is shocking to us. I was in Harvard in 2014, in December, when the Department of State Services and CIA and others were contemplating about Buhari and other aspirants. I know what we did to convince the American government that the only person that can come and put this country right is Buhari. That was before the Lagos, APC, before they chose within.
Right.
And that was how Tinubu came in. We know what we did, but what he has done in the past 6 years is shocking. It's unprecedented. And it should not be allowed to be swept under the carpet because the damage to the psyche of this country is monumental.
We'll talk more.
Will be completely different.
What was the point you were going to make about the media?
There is nothing that is going on today that is not actually tainted by the media.
How?
And that is why I have to come here and make bold to say what I've said. The media also know 80% of what I've said now, but they will not publish it. They know. I work with journalists. I was Deputy Director of Foreign Liaison at Defense Intelligence Agency. I work with journalists. I was Commandant Defense Intelligence College. I work with journalists. I train journalists in intelligence operations. They know. So why are they not also saying the obvious that will help the security and safety
at that
and
time,
progress of this country?
So at that time that you worked with the journalists and training them and doing all of that, did you give them permission to publish your name as a source if they were going to go to press with those details?
Oh, I did. It was a policy because, you see, when I was made the Commandant of Defense Intelligence...
No, because you had said that you belonged to a group that was not supposed to have been heard or seen.
Yeah.
So how did you give them permission to publish your name?
Yeah, because at that time I was holding a different appointment. I've held a lot of appointments in the military. There are certain appointments I will hold that has no connotation with intelligence at all. For example, I was the Chief of Staff Logistic Command for the Navy. That appointment has nothing to do with intelligence. I was the defense advisor to Nigeria in France. It has nothing to do with intelligence. So there are times I hold appointments and I have to deal with journalists. And I must tell you, I can mention some of them, Mohammed of NTL. I trained them because I wanted them to understand that military intelligence is not like a cult. I exposed some aspect.
Even though most of their documents are usually top secret and they tell you can't publish or even access the document, even if you see it by mistake.
No. There are places you process top secret. I mean, if you want to talk about document security, it's a lecture of itself. You have unclassified materials, you have confidential materials, you have secret materials, and you have top secret. There are processes. It's an area of military that you need to do a lot of training. So when we bring journalists in and talk to them, we ensure that they don't see unclassified materials. And it's just for them to understand how the system works. Basically, if you go to Afghanistan, if you go to Iraqi, you see journalists embedded with the military.
But it's not the case here.
I think I tried to encourage you when I was the commandant that we should allow journalists to have access to some of the things we do so that they can say it as it is. Because when I conducted the operation in 2007 in Angola and I came to Nigeria, what you read in the newspapers, what you hear on television and what you see are completely skewed from what we were doing.
So why did they want that to happen here, to embed journalists?
I just think is myopism. We have a lot of illiterates in the government that don't understand that hiding things in this 21st century doesn't work anymore. They try to hide informations, and they try to protect what they think is corruption to me. That's why they don't allow journalists to actually access some of these things, because this is the most corrupt country in the history of this country right now.
Marpa?
Well, sometimes, there are questions as to what usually will happen. I mean, in terms of, before you went into the journalistic exploration and how the media is sometimes a part of the problem. And, I think that there's an ongoing conversation in terms of how the media can be help, can be a source of support to the military rather than a hindrance. But before we went into that discussion, I think we're talking about something else. And I, for some reason now, I think that has finally escaped me. But moving forward, because you're talking about the language used there, the fact that they were branded unknown gunmen, and the fact that even though it was a very short statement, it was used 3 times, in that I think that there was some attempt to try and reinforce the fact that these are unknown gunmen in that very short statement. But I'm wondering, now that this gentleman, the officer who was taken, has been murdered and his body has been found, do you think that there is any hindrance now stopping the military in going after these people? Because in many places they will tell you that people will always dare. I mean, we've seen attacks that have been very daring, even in the most developed places that are considered very developed countries. The difference between there and here is that when you do dare that sort of attack, the chances that you're going to come home or go back or go scot-free are very slim. Here we are yet to see how directly the people who committed an offense directly are, brought to book or do not go home and get away with it. Do you think that now that there is nothing at stake in terms of how this major, who his body has now been found lifeless, is there any hindrance stopping the military from getting the actual people, not just the general attack or attacks that happened days later, the actual people who committed this heinous attack and crime on the Nigeria Defense Academy?
Yeah, I think they're going to get them. No doubt about that. Few days, few hours, you're going to hear that the military will get them. I know how it feels when things like this happen to colleagues. There are times we actually disobey instructions. There are times we don't follow operational orders. When our colleagues are killed in a disgraceful manner like this. Since we know we have irresponsible people at the policy level, there are times we don't listen to them. So I can assure you on this station that the military will get them. They will go after them and they will hunt them down. And they're not going to follow all these mullah, imams, and all those people that feels that it is their birthright to Islamize this country and destroy the essence and the fabric of safety, progress of this country. So the military, they're going to disobey, they're going to go out after them. And as I repeat, in a few hours, you're going to hear, they're going to get them, and they're going to deal with them.
Okay, just one more thing as we wind down. What would you advise Nigerians? I mean, they've listened to you, several things going through different people's minds now. What would you advise them to do in terms of, in the light of all that is going on, how should they conduct themselves? What should they do such that we all can have, at least contribute in whatever way we can to have a country?
Which people are you referring to now?
Nigerian citizens who are not perhaps in the military. Regular citizens.
Are you talking about the civil society?
Civil society.
What they should do?
Yeah.
I think what they should do, for me, the failure of governance is dependent. It's like a variable. When you do a simple linear regression, the failure of a government is dependent on the failure of the civil society. So you have 2 variables: a failed government or irresponsible government, and you now have at the other side an irresponsible and a failed civil society. This civil society has also failed. You cannot allow somebody to do for the past 6 years what this government and the so-called cabal, whatever you call them, have been doing to this country, and the civil society has been quiet. They have to speak out. They have to come out and resist tyranny. This is tyrannical government. You have to resist it. You don't wait until maybe he leaves in 2023, then you start, everybody will now jump out and start talking. Because the damage this government is going to do in the next 2 years is going to be more than what they've done in 6 years.
By introducing Sharia law. And I guess that is what they are trying to do under Tinubu's government. And for me, I've made my own little analysis. I'm thinking that what the plan is for them to push for this Sharia law to be included in the constitution. And if this Tinubu's government resists against it, they may just come up to say, oh, we are not going to vote for Tinubu. I mean, the North may decide to work against Tinubu. That's just my own thinking, you know, because he did not, his government or the lawmakers that are loyal to Tinubu did not allow this bill to pass. So guys, I want you to take a look at what this man said about Sharia law and plans to Islamize Nigeria. Just take a look. So guys, you have seen it for yourself. I don't know what your thoughts are, you know, because as it stands now, we have a lot of challenges going on in this country. But these lawmakers did not even come up with any important bill, you know, to reduce the sufferings of Nigerians. Instead, they are talking about Sharia law. So that brings us to the question, what kind of people do we have at the National Assembly? Who are those making laws for us? Who are those eating or taking home the biggest package of salaries, you know, without any much work? You can imagine these people sitting down to debate the introduction of Sharia law into our constitution and Islam, whatever. So guys, this also should spark this kind of conversation among Nigerians, because guess what? The people underestimate the power they have. I mean, Nigerians don't even know the kind of power they have. As in, you watching your lawmakers who get the biggest, the fattest of salary, and they sit down to debate whether to introduce Sharia law into our constitution or not. And guess what? They were saying that they are going to consult and consult. That is wasting taxpayers' money on matters that are not relevant. So when I look at the kind of things these people sit down in the National Assembly to do, I just begin to ask myself, oh God, how did we get here? How are we going to navigate ourselves out of this place where we are today? So guys, a whole lot is going on when you consider the level of IQ, I mean the thinking, the cognitive strength of those who are leading us. What is in their brain? What are they thinking? These people, when they get home, what are the conversations they engage in? How can somebody in the midst of hunger that is happening in Nigeria, you know, just come out to start talking about Sharia law? So guys, in case you don't know, this hunger is even more in the north. That's to tell you the worth of these lawmakers to their northerners, to their northern people. They want nothing. They are not there to help to improve the lives of an ordinary northerner. And you'll see some northerners clapping for them, that they want to pass Sharia law into the constitution. You'll see people who are in support of them, and they are the ones suffering the most. In case you don't know, there's Kwashoko in northern Nigeria. In case you don't know, people are suffering from marasmus. People are suffering from, you know, malnutrition. People are going through, you know, children. They can't eat, they can't feed, because we have lawmakers who thinks only about religion, about tribe, about we the northerners. They will boast and tell you they have the population. They have the population. They have the how have you impacted on that population? What have you done to improve the life of an average northerner? How have you improved the school system on an individual note? Everything you are waiting for the federal government. The North takes the biggest of, you know, the benefits that comes from the oil we have in Nigeria. Even though that oil is coming from the South, guess what? The North benefits from anything in this country. Call it employment, call it school system. If the cutoff mark in the South is 300, in the North it will be 100, just to encourage them to go to school. You know, like Kano that has so much of the population, they get more of the bigger share when it comes to sharing money according to states, according to the landmass and the population. The North gets the biggest. When you talk of of humanitarian aid, the North gets the biggest. Why is it that the Northerners are not thinking of how to improve this country? Nobody thinks of technology. Nobody in this world, when people are thinking of AI, people are thinking of all kinds of things, you know, technology. The North is thinking of Sharia law. Honestly, when I look at these Northerners, I don't even know the class to group them. I don't know where they belong to. Somebody slept and woke up and walked to the House of Assembly only to draft a bill on how to introduce Sharia law into the constitution, saying it's their way of life, instead of addressing the challenges of today. These lawmakers, they need to be recalled. It's just that the North, you know, education-wise, they are backward. If not, if this was to be a very, you know, educative group of persons, they would just recall these lawmakers, because they are not even understanding that people are dying of, as in people are suffering of hunger in the North. So guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.